This is the Grappling with Eye Show, episode 51, Brad Belsey. Okay, everyone, welcome to the Grappling with Eye Show. My guest today is Brad Belsey. He is a black belt in Judo, a black belt at Sambo. He is a British Judo Open champion. He's a five-time Sambo British champion. He's a seven-time Kent International champion. He's a national team medalist in Judo 5 times. He's a two-time President International Cup medalist in Sambo. He's been a European gold medalist with his teams in Judo, and he's been an in-counties team champion in Judo as well. Welcome to the show, sir. Seems like you've done a lot. It's good to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you for asking me to come on, and thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem. It's an honour to have you on. Now, our first question, as if long-time listeners will know, where did it all start for you? What was that beginning bit that piqued your interest in martial arts?
So I was about 4 years old, and my dad was a judo instructor, third dan in judo. Went to a local club, and yeah, threw us into it with my older brother and my younger brother. But because I was 5 years older than my younger brother, for the first few years it was just me and my older brother.
Yeah.
And we always laugh that my older brother got to yell about three stripes. And that's our kind of little banter thing. He got to yell about three stripes, then he went into football and running and golf. So yeah, that's how it started firstly, just at a local club with my dad. So yeah.
And what was it like going along to that? I mean, was it something, were there a lot of people there or a lot of your friends doing it? Or were you sort of, was it kind of, come on, son, we're going down the gym and you didn't have much of a choice?
A bit a bit of both really, but because it was a local club, it was all like I remember playing games. One of the games we always used to love was called Cat and Mouse. And that was one of the games that everyone pretty much turned up to play. Didn't worry about the judo moves and all that. We wanted to play cat and mouse at the end.
That's how they hook you in. You get hooked in with the games.
All the games at the end, all the fun games.
So what's the pressure? Did you feel any pressure? Obviously, you had an older brother there, then the younger brother comes in a bit later, and your dad is like leading the club. Was there like any pressure on you at that age, sort of thing, or maybe even dare I say, like a bullseye on your back? That sensate's good. Yeah, me made me do press ups or something like that. I don't know, because sometimes it can be tough.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do if it was like one of my parents that was the instructor. I'd find that a bit weird myself, but I know it works different for different people.
Now, well, my dad went. His first club was Sheppey Judo Club, the
Hmm.
original Sheppey Judo Club, and his instructors were Claire and Brian Cox, and that was one of the main coaches and referees in Southern England.
Yeah.
And they hosted the first ever Kent International Judo tournament. And the first ever one was in Sheppey. And then it went on to be one of the best internationals in Kent and in UK. And then it ended up at Crystal Palace in London for years and years and years. So my dad won Kent championships, Southern Area championships, went abroad to do in Holland. A famous judo tournament was Zooland International, and he was the first ever person to win that tournament. So when I was at clubs, oh, that's Rob Belsey's son. So yeah, there was a bit of that kind of views and eyes on me because that's Rob Belsey's son. So yeah,
Yeah.
there was a little bit of that, but it never really bothered me. So yeah,
Fair enough, because sometimes it is real, or being a second generation in any sport,
yeah,
sometimes can have that. You carry that sort of name or that sort of reputation or whatever on your back or whatever
that,
came before, and sometimes you got to deal with it. But no, it sounds like you had a good one to carry. So fair play. So how did it become? How did it develop then from the small kid going and enjoying the games to suddenly, when does it start getting a bit more serious? When does it become a bit more of a, yeah, I'm quite good at this?
so at the same time, I was playing football for a local football team, and I was getting quite good at that. and I was getting good at judo as well. But it was coming too much. I couldn't really do both. So then my dad sat me down one day and went, "So what do you want to do? Because you could be good at either." And I said, I'm not really enjoying football too much at the moment. I want to concentrate on judo. So then from that day, he went, right, we finished the season out, the football season. Then after the season, 100%, let's go for your judo. And that's how it kind of happened. And then I went to Dartford Judo Club. And Dartford Judo Club, for years and years and years, was one of the best judo clubs in Great Britain. It produced British champions, internationals, Olympians. And for a long period, the British Olympic team trained at Dartford Judo Club as well. So at a young age, I was training with that kind of caliber at a very young age.
Around at that time that people would know, listen to this, like judo could listen to this, who would be around at that, who would sort of the names in those days that people might know.
So one of the famous people that come from Dartford was Kate Howie. And she, I think, was a 5-time Olympic. She went to 5 Olympics, I think. And Craig Fallon trained there. You had the cousins, you had Winston Gordon, Ashley McKenzie, uh, Colin Oates. These are all Olympians I'm
It's
naming.
just the
So
Olympians, not even the other ones. Yeah, so yeah, it is.
exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine that being a high standard in the lineup.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah.
no, not intimidating at all.
No, no.
That's
You
good.
had to
So, oh, sorry, carry on. Yeah.
you had to be very robust to be training week in, day out with these kind of people because everyone every day was you had to be at your best every day, basically, 100%.
Compare then, because you're saying you've been used to doing the football training, you're doing that as well. Like you say, you were very good at both, and obviously football has its own training regime and the cardio, the physical stuff, the exercises in that. But then switching that to going to like judo full time, was there a sort of difference in the training and the preparation? Did it help at all? What was that kind of? Because football, although it's technically not a contact sport, we all know it has a bit of rough and tumble and a few two-footed tackles here or there and a few shoulders. But from going that into, like, I mean, obviously you're used to judo, but going into it full time with that sort of environment around you, was it what was that like? Was it a bit of a step up from sort of like go twice a week to suddenly, right, I'm doing this now?
Definitely. Like, yeah, so judo or any grappling sport is so physically demanding, and you'll be training 3 or 4 times a day, and you do like circuit training in the morning, you do technical training in the afternoon, then in the evening you'll do randori, which is sparring, and you'll do something like 5 minutes or 25 rounds with like 20 seconds rest in between each rounds. So you'll be doing like a whole hour of pure fighting with the best in the country. And that is brutal. Your fingers will be shredding, there'll be blood coming from your fingers, your whole head will be covered in mat burns. You'll wake up in the morning, you can barely move. So that's the step up. It can be quite brutal, and
Was
you've
there
got to
a
be
moment where
very
you were like, maybe I should have stuck with football? Or were you like, no, this is it. This is what I want?
every morning. No, no, no. I loved it. I love I love the toughness of the sport. I actually loved it. So yeah.
When did you notice then? Because like you say, what you do in the gym pays off in the mats later on. So when did you notice a change? As you're sort of competing and in your randori, in your sparring, are you noticing now that you've gone full time? Are you noticing like a change in your game, how you're performing? Along
Yeah,
those
so
lines.
I've become very, very fit, and I think I was one of the best people at my fitness and being very tough. Like people know me for being very tough and a bit brutal. A bit like if you're a fan of the early UFCs, Ken
Yeah,
Shamrock and the Lions Den.
yeah.
That's kind of how. I've always trained. It was a bit brutal, and I was very known for being quite tough. I've calmed down now. I'm a bit younger. I've got 3 kids, but in my day, if anyone knew me, or stay away from me. No. I was a tough guy on the mat.
That's fair enough.
Off
So,
off the mat, nicest guy you've ever met in your life, but on the mat, I was a very tough guy.
but you got a job to do, I suppose. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes it
yeah.
business time. So how does that? So you're now training with this. How old are you at this point now? So you've gone in, you quit your football, you're taking this seriously now. How old are you at this point?
But still very young. I'd say 13, I think. About 13.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so where does that go now then? Because you're doing it, you're doing all this training. You're getting your game together. You're getting your what's it, your cardio, your off the mat training together. How is that? What's next? What's that next step where it becomes like that a little bit more? Is there like a championship you win? Is it like they're going for a national squad place? What's that sort of next step for you then? Because obviously, I'm imagining from what you said, the local comps you're probably mowing through a little bit, and then it's like then it comes along, doesn't it? It's like, okay, when's that next bit where you're like, oh shit, okay, this is a bit more now. Now I need to do
So you'll
this
do
or
like
do that.
do the Kent Championships, and I
Yeah,
used to win the Kent Championships like every year. And then you do the Southern areas, and then if you come in the top two in the Southern Area Championships, the top two of every area in Great Britain would then be put forward for the nationals. And when I was first doing the nationals, it was at Crystal Palace, and you'd have all the best people from all the areas at Crystal Palace for the nationals, and then nearly every weekend I'd be at an international, Holland, Belgium, France, or a training camp in Germany. It was just, I would say, nearly every other weekend I was doing something, and in the week training.
plus
It,
going to
it
school as well and all that sort of thing. So, yeah,
yeah.
no, that's mad.
I'd literally come home from school, go for a 4 mile run, come back, have my dinner. I'd have a weights bench in my room. I'd be doing weight training, have a little rest, and then my dad would get home from work, literally have a quick shower, and then go straight to Dartford. And we live in Sheppey, so it'd be like a 45-minute drive every night. And so my dad was very dedicated as well. So he gave that time. He literally
Yeah,
be in from work 10 minutes and back straight out, and we get back at about 11 p.m. every night.
back up to school in the morning.
And then school and
Yeah.
then school in the morning.
I mean, I'm a school teacher. It's hard enough getting up for school now, let alone have to do all that at that age. Oof.
Yeah. There was a few
But
tired
no.
mornings at school.
So what was it like then? So you're training with the squad. You're going to these things. What's the next like point for you then? Are you a regular team member now? Are you still trying to get onto the teams by doing these competition, these things? How does that develop into sort of, because like you see, you end up like going to like European clubs and like national teams and things like that. Now, when does that? Is there a moment where they say, yeah, you've got your patch now, well done, or is it an
Yeah,
ongoing process?
so I got selected from the head coach at Dartford to go to the European Club Championships. In
Mhm.
that year, it was in Dunkirk, France, and it's like the Champions League of football.
Yeah,
So the best clubs from Europe would go there, and you'd go there as a team. So the lightweight to the heavyweight,
yeah,
and the people who won the most fights would win that contest. So you could lose a fight, but if your other teammates won the majority of the matches,
yeah,
then you
like
would win that
points sort of thing.
contest.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we was the first team from Dartford to go to this European Club Championships and win the gold medal. Then after that, it kind of they kind of won it every year. We kind of set the mark, and then every year all the other teams, past and present, was winning. So it was a very. I remember having something ridiculous like 8 fights, and we was all absolutely exhausted fighting the best clubs in Europe.
Yeah.
I was young as well, but it's one of the best trips I've ever done as well. So, and then I've done
I
that a few
imagine you can
times as
learn a
well.
lot from something like that. I mean, 'cause, pressure makes diamonds and all that. So when you're in that sort of thing, I can imagine even if there was a loss, sometimes you learn more from a loss than you do a win, don't you know?
Yeah,
Like from so now I can imagine that being a good environment.
there's a brilliant team bonding as well because you're
Yeah,
going away, you're away from your parents, you're with all your mates, you're some very good coaches, you're in a foreign country, you're having a laugh with your mates, and then you're all cheering each other on. In a team event, it's so much better atmosphere because you got all your team on the mat
yeah.
cheering you as well. It's a brilliant atmosphere, and it was one of the best tournaments I've done. So
So,
I think it started from that tournament. I thought, yeah, I want some of this. I like this.
now, as a young person doing judo, that's about right. Well, obviously, I was nowhere near your level. Don't get me wrong. But when I got to sort of my older teens, I discovered other things that I enjoyed doing as well, which kind of led me away from judo and stuff like that. So as you're getting into your older teens, and maybe you can see that senior squad's over here, and then but there might be college here or other things in between that parties and things like that. How did you sort of deal with that? Because I know a lot of people listen to this might be sort of those younger guys now are in that bit of where they're doing really well in their martial art or in their grappling sport, but like they're getting to that point now where the real world's going to come knocking at the door in a minute and all sorts might
So
happen.
I was always very disciplined, but my dad always used to say, when you get to 16 to 18, you got to choose if you want to go out clubbing, chasing the girls, drinking beer, or you concentrate on your sports. And I think that's the kind of age where you either makes or break you. You either decide, actually, this is too tough. All my mates are going out, drinking, partying. I want to do it. Or you go, no, I want to really concentrate. I really want to do this. So I think that's that make and break age. I think 17, 18, because that's when you can start going out, get the driver's license. What do you want to do on a Friday night? Go and train or go clubbing? You got to kind of decide at that age what you want to do. And I decided I want to
Yeah.
train. So
I made
yeah,
a lot of bad choices.
yeah. That's the age of it. The make and
Yeah,
break
no,
age.
100%, hundred
Yeah.
percent. I wish I knew what I knew now. But so okay, but you're making that choice, you're dedicating yourself to it. How does that lead into when you sort of start turning into a senior then? Because obviously that road's coming up now, and that is always a step up because being sort of an older teenager, you might be a bit bigger than some of the others, you might be a bit quicker and some of the others are a bit stronger. Then suddenly, when you take that step up into the senior team, suddenly you might not be the biggest, the quickest, the fastest anymore.
Right.
Sort of. How was that feel for you?
So, and because we was at Dartford, you had some of the best people
Yeah,
in depth to help you and guide you. You had British champions there. So you had people to look up to, and you had people to guide you, which in some other clubs you haven't got that. So
yeah,
I was very lucky. I had Olympic champions there, British champions there for your mentors and for people to look up to. And you'd have really experienced people. I'd rather have a chat here, or I could help you here. So for that aspect, it was the best club at the time because you had so many people who'd been there and done it and guided you through it. So I was very lucky.
that's
So
cool. And
yeah.
how did you find that step up to the senior ranks when it came? I mean, obviously, if you're rolling with half these people anyway, it's probably the same people trying to kill you still. But because you got that sort of quality around you. But again, when you start doing the comps, though, suddenly having those sort of maybe more experience, maybe a few older people around. I mean, how did you find that? Because a lot of competitions now. especially in BJJ. So it's really like myself and BJJ now. It's the other way around. Not a lot of people want to compete when they get to sort of their late 40s. So half the time I'm against like a 25-year-old who's shredded and wants to be in UFC next month. So it doesn't, you can guess the
No, yeah.
outcomes. But you have a go. But for being the other end of it, being the young guy, and suddenly you got all these older guys, and they're like, yeah, what, poor junior or whatever. How was that for you? Take, in that aspect.
So because you're in that really intense environment at your club with all these British champions, I think that actually really helped because
Yeah, I can
you'd
imagine.
go
Yeah,
to some competitions and then the level would be a bit lower than your actual training. So in some ways it really helped. But then when you go to these real top competitions when I was young, just coming through, it's tough because you're fighting these really experienced fighters. They're like 28, 30, been to Europeans, Commonwealths, and I'm just coming through. But because I had these people week in, week out training with me at our very high standards, eventually you start beating these people or really doing well against these people.
yeah.
So I was just very lucky that the club we went to, if I'm honest. So yeah,
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Kind of like you say, when you've got that around you, like you say, just those
yeah.
little bits of advice from people, and I guess as well, I think it's inspiring because a lot of people are training in all their different grappling sports at the moment, and they're looking at things, and maybe in their clubs it's a bit quiet. But if you've got that person that's gone that path, it almost makes it a bit more real because you know them. You can almost see what you need to do, or well, they've done it, so well, I've done that. I could do that, and it kind of makes it a bit real for you. And sort of, I think that would motivate me a lot more if I was
So
sort of 15, 16 again. Because you could almost, yeah, like
yeah,
they've
yeah.
done it, they're there, they're helping you do it rather than just sort of, okay, Osatagari again,
Yeah.
sort of,
At,
okay.
no, so at the time, you don't realize it. It's when you look back.
Hmm.
So every British Open afterwards, there'd be a big international training camp at Dartford with all the teams that done the Open, and you'll be rolled in around with people like Ronda Rousey and people like that. And then she went on to
Yeah,
be really famous in the
yeah,
UFC.
you done all
And
right.
when she first come on the UFC scene, like, I think I used to train with her like for like 5 years, like every year. And now she's like a UFC champion.
Yeah.
That's a so that explains the kind of caliber what went to
Hmm.
Dartford Judo Club. Olympic champions, people like that, was at the club year in, year out.
How was it then? So you're established now. You're winning all these things as an adult. How in the senior divisions? How does that go for you? I mean, is there a point where you're like, well, I've sort of won everything now, or is there a point where you're like, okay, maybe I'm going to start coaching now? Is it an ongoing thing, or were there certain things you were trying to hit? Did you have any targets, any benchmarks? So sort of you're young, you hit 18 now, you're on the seniors, you think, right, I'm having that, and I'm having that, or whatever it
So
might be.
a big inspiration for me was my dad. So when I was little, I used to see my dad do all these competitions and people talk about my dad. So when you're little, I just wanted to be like my dad. And one of the big competitions he won was a Zooland International in Holland. He won the first ever one.
But yeah,
And this tournament come up, I got selected to go. And I thought I really want to win this because my dad was the first one to win it. And I could be another Belsey to win it as well. And when I got there, they all knew my second name. Your dad, Rob Belsey. Your dad, Rob Belsey. Like everyone knew who I was. But bloody hell, I've got to win this now.
yeah,
And
put the
I ended
X
up.
on your back, yes.
I had a big target on my back for that
Yeah,
tournament, but I stayed focused and I ended up winning it. So
that's
yeah,
cool.
so I won it, and I was really proud of winning it because that was one of the tournaments I really wanted to win because my dad won it as well, and I managed to do it. And yeah,
So now
I
I
love
like
it.
that. Cause imagine you'd heard all the stories of it in this tournament,
Yeah,
like, and then you've gone there yourself, and yeah, no,
yeah,
that's awesome. I like that.
yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that's good.
Well, and the other ones, like, I mean, once you've done that, I can imagine that must have been a very big built-up one in your mind, probably like say since you were little. But where'd you go from that then? What did you want to win after that?
So another big tournament, which is very esteemed for when you're first coming through, is called a Ven Ray International, and that's in Holland as well, and that's a very very hard competition. And when I was a junior, I just missed out on the medals, but coming back as a senior, I felt very fit, very ready for this, and I ended up getting a silver. And this tournament was very hard to get a medal in it, and I managed to get silver, and that's a very high achievement because it's a very hard competition. A lot of Olympians go to this event as well, and then they go on to winning Olympic medals and stuff. So when I won that, I thought, yeah,
Go on, Zeke. So as a senior then as well, is your training regime changing now? Because obviously you haven't got school to worry about now. So are you doing a bit more running or whatever? What was your routine at that point? Because obviously you're competing at a very high standard. So I'm imagining the off mat stuff is going to be just as vital as what you're doing on the mat or you're practicing whatever
so
and or whatever. But what sort of routine were you doing at this point?
so this is where my dad would come in as well. He knew how to work me, and he knew if he put little things in my head, because my personality, I'd have to do it. So it would say to me, I think you should in the morning get up, do a 7 mile run, do 500 squats, 500 press ups, 500 sit ups, and then do 20 minutes of free weights. And I'll be like, what time do you reckon I should do that then, Dad? About 6 o'clock. All right, I'll do it. And then he would get out for work and he'd see me get out of my bedroom door. I'm just going for that 7 mile run, 500 squats, 500. And he'd be like, all right, good lad. So, yeah, that's where my dad come in. He knew if he challenged me, I would have to do it. And he'd done that like nearly every day.
So you're doing all right.
Yeah.
So that's your breakfast. That's your starter in the
Yeah.
morning. What about then? With your weights, what sort of stuff are you doing on your weight? Is it just sort of all round stuff, or are there certain exercises that you prefer that work for your judo?
Just all round stuff with it. And at the top of our hill, when our old family home was a massive hill, and I used to sprint up and down that countless of times, and then I'd leave dumbbells at the bottom of the hill, and then I'd be doing dumbbell curls, head presses, and then I'd be sprinting back up the hill, come back down, doing the weights again and sprinting. I'd be doing that like constantly for an hour. Things like that. I was a bit extreme to be honest with my fitness because I just wanted to be the best version of myself. And I
Ah,
had
that's
people
fair
like,
enough.
yeah,
I blame Rocky Four for all that. We all saw all the outdoor stuff, and
yeah.
we thought we could.
Well, I used to watch that film all the time. And then as soon as I watched that, I'll be out training. Yeah,
And I can see it when you say it. I was like, yeah, you watched it as well.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
always mad I didn't have any trees to chop where we lived.
Or any snow.
Yeah, get the axe and join there. My mum's like, "You're
Yeah.
not having an axe." I was like, "He's got one." But well, that's cool. And then, are you training every night as well on the mats, or was it technique? Was it just all sparring? Was it all what sort of things are you
So,
doing at this point as well?
so when you get to that kind of level, mainly is kind of randori sparring to get your fitness up for the competitions. And then it can be hard. So you kind of have to look into yourself and then try and find motivation from different people to keep you going. And I used to,
Yeah.
like I've mentioned before, my dad and my brother Casey, and I used to get inspiration from my brother Casey because he was very good at the technical side of the sport,
Hmm.
where I was very good at being aggressive and tough and fit. So that's where you kind of help each other. So we was both lucky because you had two very high standard players living in the same house. So a lot of the time we would get out of bed and go running together, do weights together, then go training together. So if one person was feeling a bit tired, a bit fed up, the other one go, come on, we can do it.
For that matter. But
So,
yeah,
so
that's good. Yeah,
you had that going on as well. So if one person was knackered, the other one would be like, oh, come on. And then you get motivated. The other person go, come on. There's one time we done a national training camp at Dartford, and it was quite brutal. It went on for 3 hours. It was non-stop fighting. But we had to do it because we had a big comp coming up, me and Casey.
yeah.
And we got home. But I've already said to Casey, in the morning, we're going running. But we've just done a 3 hour hardcore sparring session, 6 a.m. I've gone into Casey's room, turned his light on, pulled his sheets back. Right, Casey, it's time for running now. And he literally just looked at me and went, I can't. Where he's absolutely broken. I said, you can. He went, okay, give me 2 minutes. And then we went for that run. So he just helping each
That's
other out. Yeah.
100%. That's the biggest difference. I mean, yeah, amount of
But
people. Yeah, when like, or you start off in a pair, then one drops out, and then you sort of slack off a little bit because when you're living in the same house and your brothers, yeah, that's I think that's brilliant because you've got the natural sibling rivalry anyway, I suppose, what everybody call it, and the
yeah,
bond,
yeah.
and then also you just got someone to kick your door down and drag you out, so it works on all levels.
See, that's where I was quite tough because I knew Casey had real potential, and I was quite tough on him because of that. Where my dad was tough on me because he knew I had the potential, but I was quite tough on Casey because in my mind I thought he could have been Olympic champion.
Yeah,
So I was quite tough on him for that, but it was all for good, all for the good.
Nick, for the
So yeah,
great, yeah, no,
yeah,
definitely.
for the great good.
So how long were you able to maintain this though? Because this is a very physical workout in a very physical dojo with very physical people and big old competitions against some top people too. You know, most people listening to this will probably do 5 or 6 rounds on a couple of nights a week and ache for the rest of it. You know, how are you dealing with that sort of thing? I mean, were you lucky with injuries and things like that? Did you manage to sort of
So
avoid the sort of injury bug?
I did have a very bad injury, and it was at training. So I was training with a guy called Brett Caswell. He was probably one of the most talented people I've ever trained with. It was a pure accident. We was proper going at it, real tough session. He came in for a throw. I tried to spin out, but my leg got caught in between his leg, and he carried on rotating, and my leg was still in that position. So my ankle completely snapped, and my heel was where my toes were, completely dislocated round.
Yeah, I
And
can visualize that.
I was literally just laying on the mat, everyone running towards me. Next minute, I'm in the ambulance. The next minute, I'm having surgery. And the next minute, they're saying to my dad, he probably won't be able to walk again properly without a cane or a walking stick. And you got all that going on. Like I'd
Yeah.
14 pins and bolts in my ankle. So yeah, that I had a very bad injury, but I did manage to walk again without a cane. It took about a year. I started gently going training again because I'm very determined. Like nothing would stop me,
Yeah.
and I had my brother still doing it, so that became an inspiration. My dad was still saying, if you don't want to do it no more, no one's gonna think anything less of you
Yeah.
because you've got bolts and all sorts in your ankle now. I said, no, there's still stuff I want to do. And then I probably one of the best when I finally got as much rehab on my ankle as I could. I probably went on the best run I've ever have. Oh, I was winning everything. I was winning everything.
Fair
And then a
play.
year ago, they're saying I couldn't walk.
One's a comeback story.
Yeah, I was literally winning that, winning this, winning that. I come back the best version of myself I did. Because in that
Oh,
time
no,
when
that's
I
good.
couldn't go on the mat, my dad was doing weights with me. He was getting me to do sit ups. He's really getting me to work on my upper body because
Yeah,
I couldn't do my legs. So I did come back really strong. So yeah,
that's
there was a
good.
big injury there. But I managed to come back from that.
And no, what fair play to you, sir, because yeah,
Yeah.
no, because and where did it go from there then? Because obviously you're moving up the ranks here, you're moving up in the age. You know where you're now. You've made your comeback after that horrific injury, and you're still winning and bagging up medals. When does it become like okay, maybe I've peaked now, or maybe like it's time for me? I don't know. Do you go into? 'Cause I know there's a bit of coaching coming up in the future as well. Is it something that sort of moved across to there? Where does that sort of change come in?
So Casey touched on it. Like the judo rules completely changed it in 2009, 2010. And all of a sudden you can't do leg grabs and you can't do this, can't do that. And we kind of decided, should we go for a new challenge? And then this is where Sambo comes into it. I contacted John Clark, who become a big inspiration to me and my brother as well. At the time when we first come through, he was one of the best Sambo players in Great Britain, and he was going abroad doing international tournaments with Ashley Costa, who he was like a Sambo brother to me and Casey. He
Mhm.
really looked after us because when we first went into Sambo, he was probably the guy for his weight group, and
Yeah.
we was lucky enough to train with him when we started doing it properly. So we
Okay.
if it was judo or sambo, lucky enough, not many people are lucky enough to have this. We also had the best guys, so we was very
That's
lucky
brilliant.
for
So for
that.
anyone listening to this at the moment, and obviously we talked about the judo side, you've gone to Sambo. What's the difference? What is it like? Because obviously, like you're saying, like the below the waist part's now gone in judo. I'm guessing Sambo. For anyone listening to this who might not be familiar, what's the difference between judo and Sambo? What's the sort of Sambo rule? How do you win it Sambo? What's the how are they different? How are they the same?
So in sambo, if you was to throw someone and stay standing, and you're throwing them straight on their back, and you've stayed standing, that's called a total victory, and you can win straight away. So that's like an ippon in judo.
Okay.
So a total victory is you winning straight away. If you get submission, you win straight away, like a leg lock on arm bar or a pin. A pin gets you 4 points. In Sambo now, through the years, it's been a bit different. If you win by 8 clear points, you win. So if they got 1 point, you got seven. You still got to get the points to make it
Oh
clear
yeah,
eight. Clear eight
like
points.
8 points clear in the lead, like
Yeah,
technical knockout sort of thing. Yeah.
but you only can in Sambo. You only can have one hold down. If you go into a hold down again and you've already had that hold down, you can't do it. You'd have to quickly go for a submission or stand back up. So that's the kind of, and it's very low style. Like the style was a bit freestyle wrestling style. It's very like low based. So Sambo is very. If you're a good freestyle wrestler, you could be very good at Sambo and vice versa because it is wrestling is very involved in Sambo. Just with a gi. Yeah.
Okay. So you've made this connection now then, and you're moving across. Now, is it something you're doing? Let's say you wanted a new challenge, and the new rules of judo have kind of put you off a bit. Then I guess, because like I say, it's changed the game a bit with no grabbing below on the legs or below the waist now. So how are you finding with your judo experience and all the training you've done for that? You've gone across to sambo now and you're training again with these top level people. Is it something? Is it a quick switch of skills, or is it like or actually I need to. There's a few things here. I've been put in my place a little bit. I need to write. I need to learn this or that. What was it kind of a? Was it just sort of old dog new tricks, or was it kind of the same? Or were there certain things? Okay, I need to get this bit sorted now. I need to work on that because it isn't what I thought it was. It's different, or from there, in your game plan.
So my judo style is very grapply Russian Georgian style anyway, and that's kind of
Hmm.
similar to Sambo. So I actually found it very natural. Going to the Sambo mat, I found it very natural and oh, this is my home. This is really for me. Like it just felt so natural. Obviously I had the leg locks, I had to learn and really go for the leg locks and learn all that kind of side. But apart from that, for me, it became very natural because I was doing the leg grabs. I was fighting low anyway,
Yeah,
so it was no different because I kind of went from judo just as the rules changed, so there was no different. I could
okay,
quickly go to Sambo and do all the judo stuff that I was doing. Obviously, I had to adjust, and it was a bit here and there. But
yeah,
like I said, we had some fantastic coaches and players around us to help us, like John Clark and Ashley Costa. And Ashley Costa now has actually become the national coach. So that's the kind of level of guys we was around. Now he's a national coach. And at the time, he was one of the best players. And then we become one of the best players for other people. And then we helped the younger people. So
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like
Sounds
that.
good. So how was competing then? Because obviously you've had this high level of competition in judo. We talked about that, all the international competitions, the high level that you've had. How was that first sambo competition? Was going into that, was it kind of a similar environment? Was it a bit more nervous? Was it, how was that for you? Because obviously you've got all that competition experience, but this is while it is similar, it's not. If you
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like I said, when I in the Sambo world, I just felt at home. Like it's just in Sambo, it's very cross training. You would have a judo guy, you would have a Sambo guy, you would have a freestyle wrestling guy, but in judo, it would just be judo.
got yeah.
But Sambo is a little bit more open-minded for the cross training side. A Sambo guy would go to a freestyle wrestling class, go to a judo class at the top level. Not
Yeah,
everyone does that, but at the top level, like in Russia, judo and sambo, freestyle wrestling all train together. But you don't really get
yeah, that
that
makes sense. Yeah.
in other countries. So sambo, in my opinion, is a lot more open-minded for other grappling styles to then put into the mix and mold you into a complete fighter rather than I'm just going to be a purist and just stick to this.
Hmm.
So that's the side that I really liked about Sambo, that a lot of people was open minded to do the freestyle wrestling, to do judo, to do karash wrestling, and all the other kind of grappling arts that a lot of people don't know about. So that's what I really liked about it.
All right, so, and where does Island Sambo come along then? Because obviously you've switched to Sambo now. You're doing well now. You're picking up medals and that. I mean, you etc. When now you've got Island Sambo. What made that become a thing for you?
So I actually retired in 2015. The year I retired, it was the President's Cup. It's a big international sambo tournament, some of the best countries in the world, and you represent Great Britain. And it's a team tournament. So you got the lightest guy and then to the heaviest guy, like a
Yeah,
tournament I said in
one at each weight sort of
Dunkirk.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we got the bronze medal for that. And then a few months later, the British Open, I won the British Open. Then I decided I need a bit of a break. And that break ended up in like 8, 9 years. And then I got a message from John Clark saying, I just got a message from someone who wants to start a Sambo club near you. Would you be interested in do it? I said, where is it? He said, oh, it's just it's on Sheppey somewhere, and I googled it, and it was literally like down the road, and I said, yeah, sure, because about a year before I got that message, I was thinking, oh, I kind of miss it now. So then I literally got on the phone to my brother. By the way, we're starting a Sambo club, mate. They went, oh, and then we got our dad involved, and us three are back doing it again. Yeah, and then
Excellent.
within a year, I won the British Open Masters Sambo Championships and won the British Open Judo Veterans Championships. So
Nice.
within a year,
Then
I've
went
won
back and done
two,
both. Yeah.
back into the world swing of things again. So yeah.
No, that's excellent. Now I'm going to ask you a technical question now. All right. So you've got your black belt in judo. You've got a black belt in sambo. In what you had to do for each, how are they the same? How are they different? Because judo, the black belt thing in judo is notorious because you got the line up and you got to get through and get your points and all that sort of thing. It's a tough thing to do. What's it like? How does that compare to what you had to do for sambo?
So Sambo, me and Casey got made Master of Sports, and that was for all the international tournaments that we've done and what we've done for Sambo. So we got given it for that aspect. But in judo, because I was so light, you have to do a lineup like you just
Yeah,
said, and I'd be fighting 100 kilo guys, 120 kilo guys, and I'm 60 kilos. So at that aspect, that was tough. I was young, 16, fighting these 30-year-old 120 kilo guys who wanted to rip your head off to get their black belt. And I'm
yeah.
16, 55 kilo, 55 kilos of nothing. So that's the sort of stuff what made me tough because I had to be.
No, that's good. No, that's what I said. No, I just wondered if there was certain sort of knowledges or things that you need in it as well to sort of compete at that. But like you say, that experience, all that international, all those tournaments you're doing, yeah, no, that's nothing beats experience like being out there and doing it. So yeah, that sounds really
Yeah.
good. So what are your goals now then? So you've got Island Sambo is up and running. Sambo is is growing in the UK. What about for you both as a competitor and as a coach? What's what's on your what's your aims? What's your goals? What's on your bucket list type thing?
So as a coach, me and Casey want to be an elite club. We want to be one of the best Sambo clubs there is, and eventually go into judo as well. For competition wise, next year I want to do the British Open Masters judo again. I want to do the British Open Sambo Masters again. A few other competitions will come up, and I want to give BJJ a go as well for the veterans. I want to
Yeah.
see if I could get a third black belt. So I'm going to start
Okay.
soon to do BJJ for another ambition. So I've always got things going on that I really want to
No,
try.
that's good. And I just wonder what else because
Yeah.
you look like someone who wants to keep sort of pushing himself. So I just wondered like what other sort of things you might have
No,
in the
I've always
pipeline.
I've always got goals, and one of my goals, obviously, the judo and sambo, but then to start getting out there and training BJJ, which will be happening quite soon. So yeah,
Oh, excellent. Um, so if anyone is listening to this and they are thinking, yeah, this sounds like something I'd like to try or give it a look at least, what's the best way for them to be getting hold of you and contacting you about Sambo or
so
coaching in general?
yeah, so the best way is social media. You can get hold of me or Casey. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Just give us a message, and if you're thinking about giving it a go, then just give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. We're all friendly guys. We've been there and done it. We'll help you if your goal is just to get fit or you want to compete. We'll help guide you. So yeah, just come down and give us a text, give us a message.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Brad, for coming on today. It's the Sambo world is sounding more and more interesting to me all the time because like I say, I was sort of the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling sort of side of it, so it sounds up my street. And again, the bit I got fed up with in judo myself was the fact that like suddenly like couldn't spend more than like 1 second on the floor and you have to get back up
No,
again. That was when I remember falling out of it a little bit. It just seems I'm exaggerating there, but you know what I mean. It just sort of that element was sort of disappearing.
no, freestyle
No,
wrestling.
that's good.
Freestyle wrestling can really help Sambo guys. 100% freestyle wrestling. A lot of people high level would do freestyle wrestling.
Excellent. That is something. Yeah, I just have to see if we can get you down for a seminar or something.
Yeah, that'd
We'll
be
talk about that
brilliant.
another day.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Plug it on there as well. But yeah, so he's available for seminars, people, and get in line now on first. But yeah, no, it's
Send us
really
a
good.
message.
I'll put all your links in the show notes and that as well, so people can click on it on the website and like, go into all that. But yeah, no, thank you very much, sir.
But thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad, for joining us this week on the Grapple with Your Eyes show. I have been your host, Brett Summers, and we are now approaching the closing of this week's episode. If you like what you're listening to or what you're watching, you can check us out on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and all the podcast apps. Our video episode drops on YouTube Thursdays at 7 a.m. UK time, and at that very same time, the audio episode drops on the aforementioned applications. So please, give us a like and subscribe, give us a follow. All those things really do make a difference. If you've got any questions about the episode, please leave them, on the YouTube channel under the questions. If you need to keep an eye on anything else we're doing, all our past episodes are available on our mothership, the grappleofyoureye.com. That's got all our links, all our episodes, everything there. We're also active on Instagram, on Facebook, TikTok, all the usual social media applications. So give us a follow, give us a like, and get interacting, because we really, really want to build this community up. And if you do like what you're watching and hearing, any reviews, any comments, any shares really do help make a big difference to us, and we are really appreciative of everyone who does that. But as I say, we now move to the end of the show. So we'll be back next week with another guest. Stay safe and stay on the mats.